You ever feel like you might pull something if you do some a certain way? Like I might pull a muscle. Does that happen to y'all, or is y'all so young it doesn't really? You never feel like you might pull a muscle doing something. When you start getting old, like you reach for something and you go, "Oh, should I just get up? Because if I get up, I won't hurt myself."
It's time.
We don't actually have grading conference sheets. So that's irrelevant. I should mention though, week 9, day 1, which is not going to be this coming Tuesday, but the next one. We're going to do grading conferences, so I'm just going to talk to you about your grades. But what that means is we have to assign midterm grades. It's like the first semester we're doing that. But that means I will be issuing you a grade based on what you've done so far next week. And I think that I will have time for y'all to get your critical evaluations and for me to grade them. So I will include the critical evaluation essay on the midterm grade because I gave y'all until Tuesday I gave y'all an extension until Tuesday to work on that, but there's only like what, 8 of you? So I mean I can get 8 essays graded in a day, no big deal. Y'all have always gotten the priority essay grading first anyway. I mean I think actually maybe if anybody turned in their census analysis late, I haven't gone back and checked. So I mean I'll probably do that today and go look and see if y'all have any leftover essays to grade for census analysis. But then that means I'll be including the first census analysis essays and then the critical evaluation and whatever quizzes we've had so far and discussion posts in the midterm grade that I send to the main campus for them to put in like the system. So we'll be talking about that grade on the grading conference day. I'll kind of discuss with you like why you have it, how you can get it up if you need to, that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Any questions about grading conference, what that is, what that means? No? Well, y'all just want to get to King Lear then, don't you? Wait. I should say something about Silver Springs with the grading conference because the way it generally works is I try to, since you guys drive up there and you're all on the other campus, what I try to do is have the grading conference with you guys first, like over the camera. So I like try to get like Carlos and Brenda, get y'all out of the way so y'all can get it out of that room and go to wherever you feel like you need to go after that. Because it also sometimes figure like we have to work out any technology kinks, but it'll be like one of you will be outside the room, preferably far enough where you can't hear the other person that I'm talking to, who's grades and stuff. And then the other person will let the other person in, and I'll talk to them, and then you'll go down the hall and y'all will leave. But once we have our little discussion about your grades, then it's over for that day, and then everybody goes home. So it's a very short day. And if you come from a long way just for this class, please email me, let me know that you come a long way just for this one class. If you're already here, that's not the same thing. If you're already here for other classes, just go ahead and stick around. Or come and see me. I might still be down in my other classroom. If you want to come find me and say, hey, I'm already here and I'm going to go and let's get this over with, I might be able to do that. But for that day, you're only going to talk to me for those few minutes where we go over your grades. Otherwise, you just go home after that. Any questions about that? Yes. Oh.
So when is the grade conference? Is that till 2 weeks from today, or?
It's week 9, day 1. So I think it's Tuesday, October 23rd is the day we're doing that.
Yeah, because that's 2 weeks from now. Because our thing is due Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. So Tuesday, October 23rd, starting at 1, and then however long it takes us to get through everybody. And I'll give you a little sheet too that you get to take with you. I'm not sure if on the day of, if I will have had enough time to get your sheets printed, Brenda and Carlos. I may have it in front of me, and maybe I'll send I probably could send a facsimile of it to Linda Meyer over there, or Iris at the front desk. And when I say facsimile, I don't mean a fax. I mean literally that the original meaning of the word, something similar that looks just like it that I can send through email, but it's not the same type of file that I use. But you should be able to get a copy of it that day, so I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. I'll make sure I work on that beforehand. Yeah, Tuesday, October 23rd, 1 p.m. Be there or be square, as they used to say. So cool people. Yes.
Do you want us to do for like the, I know you're letting us do how do you say it?
Revision?
Revision?
Yeah.
Yeah, revision on the papers. Do we need to submit those before the midterm so you can like add up our grade, or does that matter?
I mean, here's the thing about the midterm grade is while we're assigning midterm grades, they're not going to go toward your GPA at all. It's just something to kind of give you an idea of how you're doing in the class so far. So if for whatever reason you just hate seeing anything not that great, anything even looking like a B on your midterm grade, and you just want to make sure that it's an A or something, you can submit revisions to me before then and I'll go ahead and grade it. But you don't have to submit any revisions until week 14 because that's when I'll take the final revisions. So I mean, if you're one of those where you're like, oh, okay, I have to see an A, I'm just going to submit something, totally welcome to submit your revisions now and I'll grade them. But if you're the person who's like, I don't care, if it doesn't affect my GPA, no big deal, you can just wait for the later revisions. Many options. Feel better or feel worse?
No, that's good.
Awesome. Okay. You are very welcome. I'm glad that you are happy with this. Now what, guys? Now what are we going to do? Any other questions?
Critical evaluation.
Critical evaluation, there are two options. If you can get done with it by tonight and you want to get it done by tonight, go ahead. I don't have to have it until next Tuesday because I had forgot to tell you that it was assigned. I mean, it was on the syllabus, but I don't know. I like to be told if I'm in a class that, hey, there's a paper coming, and here's how to do it. And since I didn't tell you all how to do it on the day that I told you on the syllabus, I would tell you how to do it. Then you don't have to turn it in by tonight if you don't want to. You can wait until next Tuesday. But it's either one of those 2 days that you can get it turned in. So it's up to you. I'm loosey-goosey, guys. I'm fluid here.
Do we have a discussion post this Sunday?
A what? I think a discussion post today?
No, it's Sunday.
I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's see if Google Chrome will open.
Good luck.
So we'll take a look at Google Chrome. Oh yeah, it closed down my Google Chrome, so I can wait for all these windows to open. So I guess y'all just gotta sit here for a second while all these windows open. How awkward.
He's pulling it up right now.
So let's see, I'm pulling it up right now. Let's see. Oh, I gotta log out because it's not logged into my account. I gotta log out and just log in real quick. It just takes a second. No big deal. I mean, I don't have anything better to do with your time, no, do you? No, you're stuck here. Let's see. Let's see. What am I looking for? I can't even remember anymore. I can't. Tell me, what am I looking for?
To see if we have a discussion post this Sunday.
Oh yeah, discussion post this Sunday. Yeah, I got distracted. I was thinking about something else. Discussion post. Let's see.
End of classes. Oh, here it is.
Oh, the revision.
Let's see. So.
Need a button.
Are we muted to them or?
Huh?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can't? Okay, cool. Let's see. She's the bomb. Let's see.
It's time.
She got those review sheets to him, I think. Let's see. Discussion post. Oh, wait, why do I have this? I don't want that alarm going off anymore. Let's turn that off. There we go. So, King Lear week, we did discussion post 6. We talked about 6 this week. Then we have a midterm assigned the research paper. So, no, there's not a discussion post. I think actually it may open, but it's not due until.
Because I don't know if it's this week or next week we don't have one because it's like blank in one of them.
Yeah, I think that this is the one that's blank. It really kind of pisses me off. I wish we had discussion posts over sonnets of Shakespeare instead of over Faustus, because I freaking hate that thing. But it is what it is. So no discussion post over sonnets.
Okay.
Damn it. Okay, so yeah, none of that. So let's see. I'm sorry, I've been so distracted like the last minute or two. So I guess we'll talk. Okay, any questions? Other questions? No? That was fun while I was still, wasn't it?
What did you keep pointing at?
Gosh, Hannah. What I was pointing at was the fact that Silver Springs, they had their mic unmuted for a while, and I don't think they knew it. That's what I was pointing at the whole time.
Tom, he was like,
because y'all had your mic unmuted for a little bit, but you weren't acting like you knew you did. Did you know that?
No.
Because like when the lady came in and gave y'all the papers, and you were like, "Thanks, you're the bomb." And then like there was another, like I was looking stuff up on the computer, and you said like, "Oh, he's looking it up." And then I said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and look it up." And like they were all looking at each other like I was pointing. I was like, "Don't say anything. I want to hear it." And then they were like, "What is he pointing at?" And I was like, "You don't understand. They don't know." And they were like, "I don't know. What do you?" And I'm just like, it was. I was trying to get. It didn't work out. I was okay. I did like hearing though that y'all called the lady the bomb. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I know her. She's my friend.
Oh, so y'all have like student workers over there too, who like are students who also are working? Oh, I didn't know they had the budget for that over at Silver Springs. That's pretty cool. Because we have a lot of that. We have a lot of that here too. Anyways, let's get past the rigmarole is the word my dad used to use, which now it just sounds really old coming out of my mouth. Like I don't even want to. Let's pretend I didn't say that. Let's talk about King Lear. What do we want to say? We said a lot last time, but I mostly just covered the intricacies of Shakespeare and the folio and all that, like background info. But we didn't really even get a chance to fully talk about it, I don't think, did we? I don't think we did. Was there things y'all wanted to talk about? Am I just going to sit here and talk about this the whole time? Because Tabitha's not here and Celi's not here. And they're like usually talking to each other the whole time. And I'm just kind of chilling here going, yeah, all right. Well, let's do it, I guess. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? There's definitely some things I want to cover that we haven't mentioned at all. I don't think. But the whole Edmund thing, I mean, we mentioned how he's the son of Gloucester, the bastard son of Gloucester. And he does bad things. Did I mention at all that essentially usually bastard characters in these plays, if they're like genetically a bastard, they're also usually are kind of slang version of a bastard where like they're just not a nice person? I did mention that. Okay. So like usually, like yes, he's kind of a jerk and he hates King Lear, and his dad. And he does what he does for those reasons, that he has no care for anybody's needs except his own. But at the same time, like he does a lot of what he does because he's born out of wedlock to a woman that's not his dad's wife. And that's just a weird thing. That's like something that happened like in the Shakespearean times. Is they did not want like a bastard character to be like a good guy, I guess, for whatever reason. So that's something. I had to make sure I mentioned that. Any favorite lines, favorite quotes, or anything, guys? My gosh.
I have a question.
Yes, I might have an answer.
Okay, I was looking on the midterm review sheet where it says like Christian influence. Like, do you want to know like the religion or like just what they believe in, or what like I don't get that question.
It's not. I mean, essentially it's not a question. It's just kind of like I want you to know what we talked about regarding the Christian influence in Beowulf and Sir Gawain. Whether there was an influence, how strong that influence was, I guess.
Are we supposed to have
So you don't want to know like a specific religion, like Christianity?
I mean, no. That's the one I'm asking about is Christian influence. No, yeah, y'all aren't supposed to have a sheet like they do.
Oh, so we can use this?
Oh yeah, you can write all over it. You can bring it to the exam.
That's so nice.
So I might as well, I guess, cover the things that are right here at the bottom regarding King Lear, right? Because y'all probably want to know. Yeah, let's make sure we cover this, huh? Did we talk about how often? I can't imagine like how annoying it would be. I don't know if it was annoying or exciting if you were watching the play, like, and all these characters are in disguises. Like, there's a lot of them. It feels like to me like people who are like wearing disguises in plays, and I wonder how often do you get away with that? Like, what really bothered me was say like Gloucester and like Edgar's wearing a disguise. Like, how do you not recognize your son in a disguise? I mean, I guess he has no eyes, but like, how do you not recognize your son's voice even if he's disguising it? Maybe this is just because I'm me, and like I feel like anytime I hear my voice, it's very distinctive. Like I feel like if you were on the stairs and you heard me talking upstairs, you would be like, "Is that Nichols?" Because I feel like I just have a voice like that. Even maybe if you were like at a movie theater or like at Hobby Lobby. Let's say you're at Hobby Lobby and like you hear from somebody from the other aisle is speaking like loud and boisterously and nasally. You're like, oh, is that Nichols? Is that hickish, nasally Nichols over there? That redneck? I don't know. Is that an offensive term? Some people tell me it's an offensive term. Some people tell me it's not. Oh, no, it's Canadians who find the word redneck offensive.
Canadians?
Yeah, Canadians. I don't know why, but for specifically redneck is like an offensive term. It's not like we say here where it's kind of just as another word for hick. For some reason, it's got more of an offense level to it, which I thought was a very strange thing. And it could have been just that, it might have been anecdotally that that's the case. I mean, I heard of it was like one person who was offended. But I know other people were like, no, you can't say that to him. And I was like, well, what's going on? Like, I was like, I'm very confused. But yeah, I feel like it would be hard for me to watch a play where I'm supposed to believe that a dad doesn't recognize his son's voice, as weird of things as he might be saying. Although I don't know, I can't tell when I can tell if no. I want to make a marker here. But maybe it is something like if your eyes were poked out, you haven't had time for your hearing to compensate yet. So maybe
he has a really genetic voice.
He might. I don't know. Like, what does a generic voice sound like? I mean, no matter what, it's probably going to have some sort of British accent to it, so it's not going to sound super generic. But to us, I don't know. That's why I think it's something we're not supposed to think about. I don't think we're supposed to like work out the logic of how do you not recognize? Just take the disguise off. Take it off, and then he'd know.
See, on the phone, nobody can tell the difference between me and my sister Nikki. We sound just alike. So, we thought it was funny, like...
This is the younger, messy one?
No.
Older?
She is younger, but she's only a year younger than me. But we, like, when we were younger, we looked like twins. So, like, and as we got older, we still kind of look alike, but we sound just the same. Like, my mom has to ask who she's talking to.
Oh, interesting, yeah. My brothers aren't that way. You can definitely tell who's who when you talk. People, like many of you, though, if you saw my brother Zach at Walmart or something, you'd think he was me because we look the same. I'm 11 years older, though, so sometimes people, I think, maybe look at him and go, how'd he get so young? It's actually really funny There is a woman from, I actually don't know where she's from. I'm going to assume China. But it's because I don't have an intimate knowledge of people from Asia. Sorry, Mutita. I think she's Chinese, but she works at Walmart in Commerce in the electronics department. And my brother used to come and would deliver the video games for like a company that would like deliver video game advertising to like Walmarts. And he would go and he'd deliver like the video game like promotional materials. He did that like every week. To this day, when I go to the electronics section and she sees me, she goes, "Oh, hi." And I go, "Hey," but I've never met her, like ever. But she thinks that I'm him because, I mean, I guess, you know, you could probably attest to this, like the people that like are your, I guess the race that you're around the most, you tend to be best at recognizing the differences between that race. But when it comes to other races, you might think everybody, not everybody looks the same, but a lot of them look like they are almost interchangeable. And there have been psychological studies that show that people, they view the faces as part of their in-group differently. And that actually can be like if you were born in America, but, or no, what would be a good example? Like if you were, let's say that you were from like China, but you're adopted by an American family that's all white, then you're going to recognize differences in white faces more than differences in Asian faces. And if you're like maybe a white kid who like grows up in a black neighborhood and all your friends are black, you'll notice differences in black faces more than you'll notice differences in other white faces. It's just whatever your in-group is, you recognize the differences in skin tone, facial construction, eye sets, all that stuff, hair color, better in the people that you see all the time. And so that's just kind of one of those things. So I don't blame her for not recognizing that I'm not my brother. But I do find it interesting. And I really don't think that we're probably supposed to overthink the whole Edgar Gloucester scenario. As an English teacher, what drives me up the wall, though, is the fact that, I mean, it's clever. Admittedly, it's clever how Edmund tosses a letter into his, he like shoves a letter in his pocket, and his dad's like, "What that? What's that?" I just sound like a dum-dum. His dad says, "What is that you just put in your pocket?" "Oh, it's nothing. Show it to me. I'm not so sure you should read this." And it's like, what is it? It's a letter from, I found it in the bottom of my closet. So he's making it sound like it's not even Edgar. And he's like, but he's talking like it's your brother. He's like, you know, so maybe he's out of his mind for a minute or something. And he's like, looks just like his handwriting, though. Wouldn't you? Is that his handwriting? If I was pressed to answer, I'd say, yeah, I think it's his handwriting. So, I mean, I'd be sitting there going, like, what proof do we have? Shouldn't you have a conversation with Edgar? But everybody's so, like, pissed at each other that they don't actually talk. And I would never let Edmund, the bastard son, I guess they didn't know that the bastards in plays were usually the bad guys, did they? Because they're just the family members. So, I guess we're not supposed to overthink. See, that's hard for me not to overthink plot construction issues and disguises, and because I'm thinking about it today, like we'd never believe that that person wasn't that person. You ever seen The Prestige, the film about magicians? I have an example, but I can't use it because none of you watch films. Y'all watch what? The 17 Marvel films, and that's about it. Is Ant-Man included as part of that 17, or is it now the 18th film? I don't know. Don't answer that. What? Included? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean the Ant-Man 2.
I think it's included in it.
We can't talk about Marvel all day again. We do that too often. It's very tempting, though. I don't know. What else is there? Oh, wait. Edgar's not the only person in disguise, is he? Kent is, too. There's just too many damn disguises, guys. Too many disguises. How does your right-hand man... He's been your right-hand man for years. You kick him out. He goes, puts a disguise, I don't know what, like a fake nose? I don't know. What is this disguise? And he comes back, and you're like, who are you? Oh, I'm just a guy who wants to serve you. Why? You got that look about you? That's literally like what he said. You got that look about you of wisdom, or like of power. And he's just like, okay, sounds good to me. Hang out here with my fool. No, it just doesn't seem... The best. Do we talk about the fool at all other class?
Then we talked about it a little bit.
Just not a whole lot of fool stuff. Oh, the fool's very frustrating to read. Did y'all find that?
What did you say?
The fool is hard to read. Like when the fool is talking,
Yeah.
it's hard to understand what he's saying. More than anybody else.
I think for me, I really find it hard, but I think that I don't know the word to say. He tried to teach the king that he act like a fool.
Yes.
They call it sarcastic.
I don't know if that's the word we have for that. I mean, maybe. Maybe. All the stuff he's saying to the king, I don't know, what is it called when you insult somebody on purpose to their face so they'll realize how stupid they're being? Do we have a word for that? I mean, we do that when we say sarcastic things to each other to kind of point out little things, but he's pointing out how everything he does in life is wrong, and that's, I don't know, like that's a little more intense than what we do. Oh, I think there is a, wait, hold on, let me see if this is a word. I think it's like meant to be cruel behavior. Sardonic? Let's look up my sardonic word here. Disdainfully or skeptically humorous. Derisively mocking. Yeah, that would be the word. Because it's like really mean sarcasm is called being sardonic. I remember hearing that word one time. So like if you're being really, really mean, then you're being sardonic. And that's kind of what the fool, yeah, the fool's doing that the whole time. He's being very mean to the king, trying to point out to him, you're stupid. But the king won't listen. In fact, sometimes he laughs at him, doesn't he?
But I think that some part that king listens to him though.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, there's definitely parts where he realizes the fool is right.
Like about that, he told the king about the oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely pointed out how, I don't remember exactly where that is. I get so lost in when he's talking. Yeah, because there's the part, let me see, it's Act 1, Scene 4, where he's talking about basically the whole situation. But I guess what was giving me problems was all the metaphors he's using, because he was giving like symbolism. He was talking about like, he was saying what he did wrong without saying what he did wrong. Huh?
You mean that he didn't say that directly?
Yes.
But I think I found it's more interesting than to say that directly. Because you know the king doesn't want to accept when they said, okay, you bad. He won't.
Sure.
It's kind of like he wanted something like fool even tell him that he more stupid that he even don't understand what fool tried to say. I think the fool is smart because he don't say directly to the king because the king gonna get mad at him.
Yeah, and he's
smart.
And we know he's pretty mean, so he could hurt him if he wanted to with the knights. Yeah, I guess it is. I could say I've just always found him very frustrating to read. Maybe because I'm so used to reading just the words parts, and then we have the fool who's saying what he's saying but not saying it, and that drives me nuts. Like when I've got to keep up with what he's talking about, and Lear gets pissed in Act 1, Scene 4, like around line 150, where Lear says, "Dost thou call me fool, boy?" And he says, all thy other titles thou hast given away, that thou wast born with. And then Kent even says, this is not altogether fool, my lord. Like, he's not just goofing. He's not just playing around. And he says, no, faith, lords and great men will not let me. If I had a monopoly out, they would have part on it. And ladies, too, they will not let me have all the fool to myself. They'll be snatching. Nuncle, give me an egg, and I'll give thee 2 crowns. But it's like he jumps into the next joke before you can be mad about the previous one. Like when he says, they will not let me have all the fool to myself. And ladies, too, they will not let me have all the fool to myself. They'll be snatching. And I think he's talking about Goneril and Regan, the sisters. Like, they're foolish too, and they're trying to snatch away some of my foolishness, and so are you. Everybody's trying to take my foolishness away from me. But then it's this stuff I think that gets me. When he's like, Nuncle, give me an egg, and I'll give thee 2 crowns. And I say, okay. And then Lear says, what 2 crowns shall they be? And he says, why, after I have cut the egg in the middle and eat up the meat. Is it a hard-boiled egg, or is he just slopping up the wet egg whole? I don't really know. Then I've got the 2 crowns of the egg. Okay. When thou clovest thy crown in the middle and gavest away both parts, so I guess the real crown he had, thou borest thine ass on thy back over the dirt. So when you gave your crown to your daughters, broken in 2, you're carrying your donkey on your back. So you're carrying the burden all by yourself. Thou hast little wit in thy bald crown when thou gavest thy golden one away. So the 2 crowns is the king crown, and then there's the head crown. And both are represented by different halves of the egg. If I speak like myself in this, let him be whipped that first finds it so. Then we have the poem. Fools had never less grace in a year, for wise men are grown foppish, and know not how their wits to wear, their manners are so apish. I don't know, I just find, like, when I'm reading, I'm having to read that slowly the whole time the fool is talking, and I get frustrated. If you like it more, like, that's cool. Do you like it more, or do you just find it interesting?
To be honest, I don't read all of it from here. I read the translate too. That's way easier to understand what he tried to say.
The translate?
Yeah.
Where did you read that?
The spoke note, something.
Oh, okay. So you found him really interesting, like in the summary.
No, not in summary. Translated.
Oh, so it has like an English translation on SparkNotes?
Yeah, both sides, the original and the translation.
On the website?
Yes.
When did they add that? Let's go look at that.
Why didn't I know about that?
I didn't know I existed. I probably still won't tell people. I'll just let y'all find it. SparkNotes, King Lear. Because I knew they had the thing like Tabitha had the book that she got from the library, which is what you just said. What do they call it? No Fear Shakespeare?
Yeah.
That's the book. I'm gonna look at SparkNotes King Lear and see.
Yeah, just put it in and it's
Oh, they literally call it translation. It's not a translate. It's real English. It's already English. Oh wait, you just scroll down. Translation. Act 1, Scene 4. Let's look at the egg part. Oh my gosh! It's all here. Guys, this is brand new information. Like, this is not.
I didn't say it because I thought that it's kind of cheating.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's what y'all had the option. I told y'all, like, I think that this is the best, where it's like Shakespeare and then kind of like little notes on the side, but
It's still hard.
it's still hard. Yeah, it's definitely still hard. I said, but you know, she had that No Fear Shakespeare, and that had like the plain English on the left, and like, or is it the other way around? Plain English on the right, and the real Shakespeare on the left. I can't remember, but like. I just watched Carlos like open and close his book with his face. I don't even like. I just saw it happen. It was like the best thing. It. That was great. And I couldn't think anymore. So I guess there's like the English translation. I just didn't realize that was available for free now. That's kind of cool. I thought you had to like go and find the book to get it. I didn't realize they had it for free. That's pretty cool. I guess I'll have to put that in the future. Like I'll add it to like the links that I have. So I've got like the folder Shakespeare, but then also I have like the translation version. Because then it might be easier for you to read. Do you feel like you maybe would have read the translation? Well,
That's what I use.
So you use this too?
Yeah, because
So you knew this was here too?
Well, yeah, because then I went to SparkNotes. So I was like, I'll read the summary, and then I found the whole thing. I was like, well, I'll just read this part because this is a lot easier.
Well, that's actually...
I'm struggling over here, and then...
Well, like, now I'm kind of curious because, like, I'm wondering, because the way you just said that, like... I'm wondering if English teachers have always said like, oh, SparkNotes is terrible. But you said like you arrived thinking, oh, I guess I'll read the summary, and you got there and the whole thing was there just like translated in English. You're like, oh, well, I can just read this. So instead of reading a summary like you were going to do.
Well, no, I was going to read it like you said, read the thing and then look in the summary.
Yeah.
What it actually said, but then there's the whole story just translated.
So you just said, oh, I can just read this instead.
Yeah,
Oh. But still, I feel like a lot of people maybe would have just read the summary, and then instead you went, okay, well, I can read the translation because that's the same, and I'll get more out of it that way. Because you'll get more out of it by reading the translation than just the summaries. So that's actually pretty nifty. So, nifty. When am I? What decade am I in right now? Let's see, Act 1, Scene 4, how far is this in? 190 in, 205, 240, 280... 300, there's a lot of lines in here, 330, 360, so it's about half the way through. So let's see, page, not 5, but that's as far as I can go. 7, oh man, it's got some ads in here. There we go. Which 2 crowns would those be? So let's see, I want to see what the English translation, where's the English? Like regular, plain, original text, modern text. So I'm going to read, let's see, here it is first. So they have on the left. Why, after I've cut the egg at the middle and eat up the meat, the 2 crowns of the egg, when thou clovest thy crown at the middle, and gavest away both parts, thou borest thy ass o' the back or the dirt. Thou hadst little wit in thy bald crown when thou gavest thy golden one away. If I speak myself in this, let him be whipped that first finds it so. Sings. Fools had ne'er less wit in a year, for wise men are grown foppish. They know not how their wits to wear, their manners are so apish. So what does my translation say? Well, when I cut the egg in half and eat the whites, the yolk will be in 2 parts like the 2 golden crowns. The yolk will be in 2 parts like 2 golden crowns. Oh, if you just literally cut it in half. When you cut your own crown and kingdom in half, oh, it's literally just explaining it, and gave away both parts, you were as foolish as the old man in the old story who carries his donkey on his back instead of letting the donkey carry him. They really are spelling it out. You didn't have much brains inside the bald crown of your head when you gave away the old gold crown of your kingdom. If I'm telling the truth like a fool and saying this, whip the first person who thinks I sound foolish. Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that line earlier when we were reading it. Fools have had a hard time this year. They've been displaced by wise men who've grown foolish. These men no longer know how to use their brains, and they don't know how to behave except by foolishly imitating others. Well, my gosh, he sounds like a preacher now. Like, he doesn't sound like a comedian who's, like, saying hard to understand things. He sounds like your church preacher sitting up there explaining to you what you're doing wrong. Like, he sounds perfectly reasonable in this version. Well, okay. I guess that makes sense. So you're like, well, I don't know. I thought he was very interesting. Like, he sounds amazing here. He sounds very knowledgeable. And the other one, he's just like, what is this, like, the difference of? This is like when you see, like, a Renaissance painter or something. Like, you see, like, the Mona Lisa. And, like, fool here sounds like Mona Lisa. Versus the fool in Shakespeare's version almost seems like a Picasso painting. Where, like, there's an ear over here and a nose right next to it. And over here we've got the eyes. And you're supposed to try to figure out what I'm looking at. Like, is this a face? What is this? He sounds so smart. This is actually fascinating to me. Where's the craziest stuff? Like where is, I don't know, that's his worst like metaphor he does where it's really hard to understand. Something really long. Oh yeah, when he's talking about Goneril, you said, or didn't you say this is about Goneril? Or no, he mentioned, oh, he's there with, and she sees, I swear, Spark knows you're the slowest thing. Why? I don't need a video. Why are you showing me a video? It's like this big ass video. Video. Let's unmute it so y'all can hear it. There we go.
All kinds of wonderful characters.
We got Disney.
And we're guests at a royal banquet.
Right, but how do I get rid of you?
It wasn't a dream at all.
I just want to know how to make you go away. Oh.
For the whole family.
Right click, inspect. Literally.
The price of my prescription drugs keep going up. Pete Sessions voted to give drug corporations a $76 billion tax break and let them keep raising the price. I voted for Trump, but I can't get behind Pete Sessions, who stands with drug corporations instead of patients like me.
Did I kill it?
I hope so.
I had to delete a lot of things. No, I still didn't delete it. It's still there. How are you still there? Inspect.
Went from Disney to drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't do that?
Really quick.
Ah, there it is. Delete element. No, delete element. Man, it is really resisting. Delete element. Does it come back every time? There's a thing you can do on Google Chrome where you can delete parts of the page. Did you know this? You can, like, while you're looking at the page, you can delete parts of it. Player container. Boom! Got it. God, that was really hard to kill. But like you can find if there's like an ad on a page, like on Google Chrome when you're looking, you can like right click it and click inspect element, and you can just go and delete it from the code of the page, and it'll take it out just for like now. If you hit refresh, it'll come back, but like it'll delete it, so you don't have to look at videos anymore. You know, there's really annoying videos that come up like while you're on a web page and it pops up this video. Like you need to see this video while you're trying to read something because that makes sense. Let's see, where's the Goneril bit that I was trying to read? No, it's not. What? He says to Lear, "Thou wast a pretty fellow when thou hadst no need to care for her frowning. Now thou art an O without a figure. I am better than thou art now. I am a fool. Thou art nothing." And then he says to Goneril, "Yes, forsooth, I will hold my tongue, so your face bids me, though you say nothing. Mum, mum. He that keeps nor crust nor crumb, weary of all, shall want some." That just shelled peace god. What? And then he says over here, "You're better off when you didn't have to care whether she frowned or not. Now you're a big zero with no digit in front to give it value. I'm better than you are. I'm a fool and you're nothing." Goneril, "Yes, I promise I'll shut up. That's what you're telling me with that expression on your face, even though you don't say anything. Mum, mum." Oh, they left mum, mum the same. I thought they would say, "He mumbles." "The man who gives away his crust and his crumbs will discover that he needs some crumbs back." Why? That still doesn't make any sense to me. You give away your crust and your crumbs, you discover you need some crumbs back. Why do you need crumbs? I don't know. And he says, "That guy's an empty pea pod." Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is summing up Goneril. She's just an ass. Well, I'm sorry. I just got so shocked by finding this existed. Thank you for this. This is a gift. I'll try to do the right thing. Well, I mentioned they probably have. I wonder if they did this for sonnets.
I didn't know that one.
Let's look at this. Let's see Shakespeare sonnets, because now I'm curious. Shakespeare sonnets. SparkNotes Shakespeare sonnets. Summary. Translation. Sonnet 18. Y'all are just basically watching me have fun. I apologize for this. I don't really apologize that hard. I mean, we're going to be doing this next week anyway.
So this says you may only use Lear sheet, King Lear, and then Norton textbook. So we're allowed to bring all three of them to class.
Yeah, you can bring on the review sheet. It says you can bring the Norton book, the King Lear book if you have a physical copy of King Lear, and the midterm review itself with as much written on it as you can fit. You can't type on the sheet, and if you do use the sheet, you have to turn it in with your exam. If it's blank, you can keep it, but I'll have to see it to know if it's blank. So, yeah, you can have all of those things with you. So as much as you can fit on this sheet, you can write down. Okay, literally won't let me scroll. The scrolling is broken. Let's go up, bruh. So Shakespeare's poem is, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. And here it says, shall I compare you to a summer's day? You are lovelier and milder. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's leaf hath all too short a date. Rough winds shake the pretty buds of May, and summer doesn't last nearly long enough. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. Sometimes the sun shines too hot, and often its golden face is darkened by clouds. This is so silly. This is crazy. Y'all are never going to read Shakespeare again. I wonder if this is terrible, or if this is good. I can't decide. The sonnets are so short. What is that?
Somebody dropped something.
What was it? Oh, a phone? I should have said something then. Because I thought it had the sound of like somebody dropping a crutch. You ever heard a crutch fall? And it's got that big rubber part at the end where like, you know, you're on crutches and like, I don't want to make fun of somebody who was on crutches, but I would openly make fun of somebody who dropped a phone. You know? Wouldn't y'all? Wouldn't you? Somebody drops their phone, your friend drops their phone, you're like, oh, wouldn't you point that out?
No, because it's expensive to fix.
I mean, if their screen broke. I don't know. I watched a video the other day where there was a girl and she's feeding birds, and she slung food to the birds, but she had a pretzel in one hand and the other phone she had a phone, and she threw it. And she goes, I would have been like, that is the funniest thing. I wouldn't even feel a little bit bad, at least for a moment. I would just be laughing my butt off. Or like when somebody says, I'm not going to get a phone case, I don't need it, and then they drop it like that day. Like I would just laugh. I'd be like, you needed a phone case. Like that's dumb what you did.
I drop mine all the time and I don't have a case, but it's okay.
Oh my word.
There was one time I didn't have a case or a screen protector on it, and I dropped it downstairs face first, and I broke the back of my camera, and my whole screen was like gone.
Did you still use it?
No, I went and got it fixed that way.
Like that way?
I got it fixed.
Shattered screens hurt your finger.
Yeah.
Like it always makes you
chip out. Like if one piece falls out, like, and then the whole screen just starts to slowly go away with it.
I find this very funny. I'm like, Shakespeare, Shakespeare, Shakespeare. With the exception of Mutita today. Yeah. Phones. I have a phone. I also have a phone. Me, I've had a phone experience. I would like to share my phone experience. You know. It's very interesting. The effects of Shakespeare. Yeah, so we'll close down the Spark Notes because I don't need to see that anymore. Makes me sad that they just have that now. Why did I write balls? I just wrote that in the margins. Let's see. I had some. Oh yeah, one of these questions I've asked is hard to answer. Yeah, it is. Do y'all remember what, and by the way, this is not the question I was talking about. Did y'all happen to notice what Kent was called when he was in disguise? You know what Edgar was called when he was in disguise, right? Like his fake character. When Edgar's sounding crazy. He's not the fool.
I have it. I just can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Would a letter help? Puh. Po. Po. Poor. Port. Porta. Porta. Portum. poor Tom. That's it. That's just poor Tom. It's poor Tom. Poor Tom. Okay. Good job. Yeah. So they don't. Good job, guys. Y'all got there. For some reason, right near the end of the play, I think Lear says, "Where's my friend? Where's my?" He calls him like Caius. Oh yeah. Kent says. Lear says, "Are you not Kent?" And he says, "The same. Your servant Kent. Where's your servant Caius?" And he said, "He's a good fellow, I can tell you that. He'll strike quickly too. He's dead and rotten." And Kent's like, "No, I am him." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "What?" But like I never once heard him call himself Caius the entire play until he said at the end, "Yeah, that guy's name was Caius, that fake guy." Oh, I dropped my copy of the play. Oh, thank you. I didn't mean for you to pick it up. I was just going to leave it there. But I guess that works too. Yeah. Oh, I feel like there's got to be more to talk about. What did you think about the section where... I like it a lot where I guess Gloucester's so out of sorts because I guess it's a little... traumatic if your eyes get poked out. So it kind of affects your ability to perceive everything else. Where Edgar, he says, "Hey, can you bring me to the top of the cliffs of Dover? I want to jump off and die." And Edgar's in disguise and he says, "Yeah, you bet. I'll take you there." And takes him to like some field somewhere. And maybe he's like on a slight like inclination, like maybe like the top of a chair's distance to like the ground, and he says, "Okay, you're there." And he's like, "Am I really there?" He's like, "Yep, you're there. You're right on the edge. Just I see little people down there. They're kind of like ants. Hello down there." And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna jump." He's like, "Yeah, all right. You know, life's rough. Got to do what you gotta do." And he goes, "Ah." I guess, and Gloucester like jumps and like doesn't go nowhere. He like ends up on the ground, and Edgar like immediately like I'm talking that's ridiculous. Like he jumps on the ground, and Edgar pops up to him and he goes, "Oh, sir, thou didst fly from such great height down to this place." And I don't know. I guess he used a slightly different voice again. Like I don't really know what he did here, but. He was like, "What?" He's like, did I jump?" He's like, "You did jump, and it was like you flew like on a kite down slowly, and you landed, and you passed out, and here you are." And he's like, "But so I jumped?" He's like, "Yes." And he's like, "But there was a man with me." He's like, "What did you think you saw?" He was a man. He says, "No, there was a crazy creature with 2 big moons for eyes up there, and he was like, "Oh, I thought he was a man." "No, he must have been some creature." Like Gloucester's like, "I guess, yeah, sure, man, this is crazy. I thought I jumped off the cliff." And how do you convince how do you even remotely convince your dad like you just jumped off the cliffs of Dover and you're still alive down at the bottom? I don't even think they were near the ocean. He's like, "But is the ocean nearby?" "Oh yeah. So there's people here and everything, you know." It's crazy. Like I mean, I don't know. I found that to be silly, but. Just mainly silly. Like to me, I could never believe that would happen. I don't know how these people watch this play and then just like cut up at that.
Probably supposed to be funny.
I don't even know if it was supposed to be funny. That's the crazy thing is I think like I would have been like trying to stop myself from laughing. Kind of like when have you ever heard of the band Disturbed? No? Oh, that's a good thing actually. If nobody's heard of Disturbed, I apologize, Carlos. You shook your head very happily. I've heard their music though, and it makes me very depressed. So they have a version of. You ever heard of the old like Simon and Garfunkel song from the? You probably have. It's called "Sound of Silence." It's like you've probably seen it in memes before, where somebody will put like some kid like drops his ice cream cone, and then somebody will put "Hello, darkness, my old friend," and it'll like as the kid's all sad, and it goes black and white in slow motion, and so you'll hear that song pop up. You can't do that with the Disturbed version though, because Disturbed's like a metal bandish. I don't know, like pop metal. I don't know what you call that. It's like not like Metallica or anything, but it's metalish. I don't know. I don't know. Does Metallica even count as metal anymore? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know what modern metal sounds like, but This band redoes this like old folksy tune set to acoustic guitar with two guys harmonizing, and instead makes this video of it where it's like a song that starts out real slow and then builds and builds like a metal song does, and it gets gravelly voiced and the song ends. Like metal songs, I guess, do. But the really funny thing was they translated the lyrics to the song, which are kind of in that like hippie, like Beatles phase, where the songs kind of are meant to be sort of like tonally represented. They're not really meant to be literally represented. You're not supposed to like translate it literally. It's almost like T.S. Eliot poems. And like Disturbed just literally like translates directly what's being said the best that they can to be able to display. Because on the music video, they've got like, they said people writing songs without listening or something as part of the words. And like it has people literally writing songs on paper, like with notation and everything, writing poems on like papers on the dirt, and they're writing. And I was just like, that's not what, you're not supposed to translate this literally. And the video just makes me laugh. Like, I mean, it's just, I'm supposed to, I think, be serious when I watch this and go, yeah, this is good. But I laughed the whole way through it. Like, I just could not stop laughing. I'm sorry, Carlos. Interestingly, I hear the song, and the song by itself is not as funny. The song, I kind of go, oh, it's not so bad. I mean, I still don't like it. But it's just that, like, the video, when they try to like make it all super serious, sometimes people trying to be serious makes them seem funny. And maybe that's what it is here. Like if I watched him like, oh, I'm jumping off a cliff, and like I'm just supposed to be like, am I supposed to seriously believe he's jumped off this chair and now he thinks that he's jumped off a cliff? Like I could never believe that. I don't know, it's just ridiculous to me. How about I give you the rest of the time to ask me any questions that you want to about this sheet, if there are any. If anything seems confusing. Let me see, there's things I want you to know. I'll just start reading them out loud, and if you have questions, you can. Beowulf's enemies, know who they are. Beowulf's strength as a warrior. I don't know, I guess, I don't even know what I can't remember the questions. Where the strength comes from, I don't know how strong he is. Could be. What Beowulf tries to do to beat Grendel. How Beowulf was buried. The Christian influence in the story of Beowulf. What does the green sash mean in Sir Gawain? Not just to Sir Gawain, but to everybody. Sir Gawain, what is the Green Chapel really? We talked about it in class, like what the Green Chapel actually is. Sir Gawain, his ultimate mistake. Like, what does he do that he feels is a mistake?
Isn't that being dishonest?
I don't know, you have to look it up. You have to look. I won't answer questions about like what the answer is. That I won't do.
Oh.
But you can ask me questions about like, what does this mean? Like when Brenda asked the questions, he's like, what do you mean by Christian influence? And I gave like as oblique an answer as I could while still giving a helpful answer, which I imagine still feels like I didn't say anything. But those are the kind of things I'll answer. The Green Knight's purpose, like why he makes Sir Gawain and go on that journey. The Christian influence in Sir Gawain. So I'm asking about like, what's the Christian influence? Where'd that come from? Is there one? The moral of the Partner's Tale. Death in Partner's Tale. Irony involving the moral. Knowing in Wife of Bath what women want. The scriptures she references. We talked about them in class, specifically the ones that she was referencing. Not specific verses, but like ideas. Oh, I literally say that in parentheses. Know about each of her husbands, just like, but no brief. I'm gonna say like no briefly. Like you write, if you could write down like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what happened with each one. You don't have to like, it's Scantron, so you'll just have to know really, I guess, about 1 or 2 of them, or if I asked the question about all of them. I don't remember what the question is, but I know you got to know what each husband did and who he was and what he was like, or to a point, basics. Oh, the Spencer's name already, what was basically about. Dr. Faustus, it's a question about death and conjurations of things. King Lear, how often do we have disguises? Yes.
What's that word?
Conjurations? Things that are conjured, like through magic. Like what did he like, you know, like in magic you can make something appear. So like what does he make suddenly appear after he gets like access to magic? What now? Was that better?
I don't know that I got it now.
Okay. I realized when I said it, I was like, I'm not helping at all. When you said like I was like things that are conjured, and you're just like, seriously? Give me more. King Lear, how often are disguises utilized? Like how many times does somebody use a disguise? King Lear, what is his greatest vice? And by vice, I mean the thing that is a problem for him. For example, like many people, vice is like their alcoholism, or like maybe you know somebody who gets really angry all the time, so their anger is their vice.
Like their worst trait?
Yeah, I guess so. Like the thing they have the most problems with. So like somebody who cheats on their wife all the time has a problem with lust. I think the question does stick to like the 7 deadly sins as the possible responses. So like lust, gluttony, envy, pride. What are the other ones? Sloth. I think that's probably enough. I mean, you probably get the idea. What does the fool say about his desire to become king? Oh, that just takes... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Edmund's evil acts. Why does he do it? We talked about that today. Why Edmund does bad things. What causes that? What does the fool say about his desire to become king? So he does mention somewhere whether he would become a king. And he uses, I think, either specific words, or we can paraphrase what he said, essentially, like whether he would want to be a king. And then King Lear, be familiar with the character motivations and desires, you know, what each character seems to be motivated by. Some characters are motivated by their personal selfishness. Some people are motivated by other things, the relationships they have, depending. Now, questions you have about what we just talked about. And I can try to answer as in a roundabout, non-direct way as possible. Ooh, I didn't realize how thirsty I was. Y'all been making me talk. Man, I only got to drink during Mutita talking. That was it. It's the only time I got a drink. My drink is full. Look at me. Look at this. Oh, magic. I just conjured Dr. Pepper in a straw. You'll see, watch, magic. Look at this. Whoa, you see this Dr. Pepper in the straw. How did it get there? That's crazy. I could actually teach you what looks to be real magic, like if we went to a restaurant. Well, we're not going to do that because that's awkward. Did you not have like when I was in grad school, like teachers would have like gatherings at their house, and the grad students would come because you felt like you had to, and the teachers would be like, the professors would like have like, they'd have like wine and like fancy foods, and you felt like you were supposed to bring wine, but you don't know anything about wine because you're a grad student who doesn't make any money. So you would bring like barefoot from Walmart because that's like the only thing you've ever heard of. So you're like, I'll bring this. Or maybe Landon wine because they have it in Greenville, which actually, Landon wine's really good. But y'all are probably all too young to drink wine anyway, most of you. So you probably don't drink a lot of wine. But you're supposed to bring wine to these like little professor gatherings, and it was the most awkward thing ever because you don't know if what you're saying is going to affect your grade. So you can't really drink because if you do, you probably will just be too loose of the tongue. And be like, wow, your class sucks. Like, it just sucks. I hate it every day. Great cheese, though. This is really good cheese. Like, you can't, like, you can't do it. It's just.
You failed the semester.
I know that you failed the semester. It was just, there was one time I think. That's why you don't get drunk at the professor parties. You know, it's just like, that's why I would never take you to a restaurant. But I could show you a magic trick with forks and toothpicks. That's the whole reason I started talking. That was the whole point of that. You have a great day.
I want to say, like, when they put Kent in the stocks, he takes out a piece of paper. Where does he get it from? He's in the stocks.
He makes it out of the wood that's on the stalks. I don't know. I just made that up. Maybe you keep paper with you in your clothes back then.
But how does he reach it? His hands are...
No, in fact, my edition has the version of what the stocks look like. They're not the stocks that we have now. They're different. So, luckily this edition actually includes little pictures of things.
That's nice.
Like things that aren't like readily available. I wish I knew where that was. I can't remember. It's got to be like further back. I must just not be going far enough. When is Kent in the stocks? Kent in the stocks.
I think somewhere early on to midway through.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I have a question though.
About this?
No, it's about our paper.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a sentence that I picked, but I'm not sure if it sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so in my wide-foot, I will use my instruments as freely as my maker has sent it. Can I use that?
Say it again.
In my wide-foot, I will use my instruments as freely as my maker has sent it.
Yeah, I think that would work really well. I think it would work fine.
Good. Because I was like, I printed this off because I thought it would be easier if I seen it and like maybe highlighted some stuff.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, but that, especially since it's got the phrase, the maker in it. So, I mean, there's going to be more beyond just, I think, just the words themselves. You'll have like extra stuff to talk about too. I think that's one of the reasons why that'll work.
Okay.
It'll give you more to talk about. So here's the image of what you actually look like in the stocks. So you weren't bound with it. Yeah, it's way different. The ones we think of is what? Just the hands like this? And they weren't like that. It was when he's stuck in the stocks, it's just his legs. And you're like embarrassed like having to sit there and you can't move. But I guess the real problem is it's not as bad as the stocks that was just the hand version. But you can't, like, if you're there for 24 hours, it's the chains. You can lean back and hang from the chains, but you can't, like, lay down. Your back's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to suck.
Really uncomfortable to sleep, and he slept.
Yeah. But he could pull out the paper, I think, and reasonably.